Okay, so funny enough, right? My computer kept freezing when it came to recording audio, but I'm so hyped up about this matchup that I'm gonna go ahead and record it on my phone. So apologies if it doesn't sound 100% like normal, but I'm doing my best, and I really want to get this matchup to you because it's absolutely wonky. Real quick, smash the like button if you love content like this. We are exploring Freddy Krueger and Pinhead like they've never been explored on YouTube in terms of power scaling and versus battle, as I'm comparing them at their peak. For Pinhead, what does that entail? That entails, in my opinion, his 2013 Clive Barker canon comic run, in which at one point he goes back to being human after doing all a Cenobite can basically do. And then when he returns to human, he uses a ritual to usurp his former power as a Pinhead. And then he merged, he did the old Pinhead ritual and merged with that as well. Basically became a merged ritual Pinhead. And that's when he was at his strongest. And then for Freddy, it comes in Nightmare Warriors, in my opinion, in which Freddy completely absorbed the Necronomicon, which has power over concepts like death. And this allowed him to even, in his own words, usurp dualities and warp reality to what he wants. So if these two powerhouses, the king of the Cenobites versus the king of the Deadites, were to clash, who would win? I'm gonna let you know who I think win. And like I said, run the likes up, 400 likes, and I'll run this back with them facing other characters. But first, we're gonna take a look at Freddy Krueger. So what makes Nightmare Warriors Freddy Krueger so overpowered, right? He was in his bag. Like I said, he completely absorbed the Necronomicon, which was explained in Atomic to be completely boundless when compared to the physical realms. And when he did this, he was casually reality warping. I mean, Jason, who had a limitless soul himself as one of the strongest Deadites ever, because obviously, technically, Freddy counts as a Deadite. In this run, he was a slave and like a tool of Freddy, which is crazy to command that kind of power with the Necronomicon. But it makes sense. He has control over dualities and should scale 2 and above, which makes him outer-versal. Obviously, he already had dream manipulation, but that manipulation now extends to the physical, essentially allowing his base power set, his reality warping in the dream realms themselves, to expand. It allows him to expand to a point that it impacts even realms that aren't his own. And this was basically making him a threat to existence. Of course, he basically lost the plot. He ended up facing all the souls of those he's hurt in the past, which, like I said, Jason's body count basically gives him limitless power to draw upon in the spiritual, and Freddy has more bodies at that point and is responsible for more. So the blood on his hands should make that power pool even stronger, and that was being used against him, which he negged. But then the Necronomicon turned on him, defeating him, but it was shown at the end that he actually probably survived and negged the erasure, which makes sense because they made a big deal about how even base Freddy Krueger could neg almost all forms of known removal, existence, and sealing in the verse, whether spiritual, magically, religiously, all that, physically. It just, nothing could really work. In the end, he lost the plot. It was implied he would come back, and yeah, Freddy is a high-tier reality warper, very sadistic in nature. One of his, obviously, weaknesses is how cocky he is, but still, he is a very formidable threat, and also commands beings like armies of Deadites, including Jason himself, which he'll have access to in this battle. For an opponent like Necronomicon absorbed Freddy, we need to bring a big dog. So we're bringing 2013's version of Pinhead. I thought this comic was amazing. 8 out of 10 probably. And one of the best horror comics I've ever read. Clive Barker really outdid himself, and the art was amazing. But it was a story of Pinhead as a Cenobite, basically doing everything you can as a Cenobite, and that is being a servant of hell, which transcends reality and is extra dimensional. It is considered the void, which will exist even after God and Satan have fled and they're no more. So it does have pretty high tier scaling. Not to mention normal Cenobites that are shown in earlier runs can inflict like metaphysical damage or transcendent damage beyond regular pain. But getting back to Pinhead in this story, he felt he had done everything as a Cenobite, and as a result, Elliot Spencer found someone to replace him as Pinhead, because that's like a mantle of the highest Cenobite. And then he leaves the service of the Leviathan and becomes of flesh again. When he becomes of flesh, he transforms using a ritual to become even stronger than he was as Pinhead. And as Pinhead, he was able to corrupt and literally meme by pissing in the Dream Sea. What's the Dream Sea? The Dream Sea is an amalgamation of concepts and philosophy like the story tree, which, if you don't know the story tree, every idea, concept, and story is merely a leaf and branch on the story tree. And it also, in the Dream Sea, contains the likes of, it also contains the collective unconscious, which once again harps on the birth of all stories and stuff, where the birth of stories comes from. All this is contained in the Dream Sea, which is a real concept within the verse, and in which Pinhead as a troll casually stood in it and corrupted it by pissing in it, and ruining dreams, ideas, stories, all that. That's kind of the idea behind what he does. And he goes on to become much stronger than that as the Ritual Elliot Spencer. And after Ritual Elliot Spencer, he underwent the Pinhead Ritual again, merging with that as well and becoming even stronger, to the point where his Cenobite minions that he brought back were on the level of casually, like just a few platoons of them could hold off Pinhead, like the other Pinhead that was in current service, who should decently scale to base Pinhead, who could corrupt the Dream Sea. So they're like Dream Sea level, or relative to Dream Sea level, which is insanely impressive. Obviously, he has reality warping, dream manip, soul destruction, immortality, all that. And he lost in the end because he challenged the big dog, the Leviathan, and the Leviathan let him know what was really Hood, and defeated him basically before it even began, because he had the drop on him, because he was the one who created Elliot Spencer himself. So, who wins if these two monsters clash? I think the answer is obvious. Pinhead at his peak thrashes Freddy. Too strong, outstrips him. At that point in his story, he was likened to God himself, and his will was everything in existence, casually could destroy existence on a whim, and outstripped someone who could recreate hell itself, which is transcendental, passively, which of course is base Pinhead. So yeah, I think he outscales Freddy significantly and takes the win here. Freddy just doesn't have high enough scaling, maybe base outer, but we know Pinhead is several layers into outer. So yeah, I got Pinhead winning in this matchup of an epic horror icon clash. Who do you guys think wins? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know in the comment section down below. Like I said, 400 likes if you want to see these verses come back to be explored further on my channel. But anyways, it's been your boy, YFE. Much love to all the Villaintramites out there. I hope you subscribed, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.